Harvard University finds itself at the heart of a national debate. The issue? Diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, better known as DEI. Former President Donald Trump, now seeking re-election, has taken a hard line. He demands universities abandon these programs, threatening to withhold crucial federal funds. Harvard, a bastion of academic freedom, refuses to comply. The stage is set for a high-stakes showdown. The Trump administration argues that DEI programs promote reverse discrimination and stifle intellectual diversity. They claim these programs silence conservative voices on campus. Harvard counters with a firm defense of academic freedom. The university argues that it alone determines its curriculum and policies. This clash of ideologies goes beyond funding. It strikes at the very core of academic independence. The battle lines are drawn. Trump, wielding the power of the purse, seeks to reshape higher education in his image. Harvard, standing its ground, becomes a symbol of resistance against what it perceives as government overreach. This conflict raises a fundamental question: who gets to decide what is taught and how it is taught in America's universities? DEI programs have become increasingly common in higher education. Their goal? To foster a more inclusive and equitable learning environment for all students regardless of background. These programs often focus on recruiting and supporting students from underrepresented groups. They also offer courses and workshops on topics like cultural sensitivity and implicit bias. While many applaud these efforts, critics view them with suspicion. Some argue that DEI programs go too far, promoting a culture of victimhood and division. They fear that these initiatives prioritize identity politics over academic rigor. Others worry that DEI programs stifle free speech, making it difficult to express dissenting viewpoints on sensitive topics. The debate over DEI reflects a broader societal divide. On one side are those who believe that systemic barriers still disadvantage certain groups, requiring proactive measures to level the playing field. On the other side are those who believe that individual merit should be the sole basis for success, and that any form of preferential treatment is inherently unfair. This ideological battle plays out on college campuses across the country with no easy answers in sight. Harvard is not alone in facing pressure over its DEI programs. Other universities have faced similar demands from the Trump administration. Columbia University, facing a funding cut of $400 million, ultimately acquiesced to the administration's demands. This decision drew sharp criticism from faculty and students who accused the university of caving to political pressure. Cornell and Northwestern took a different approach, refusing to dismantle their DEI programs despite significant financial penalties. Cornell saw over $1 billion in funding halted, while Northwestern lost $790 million. These universities argued that academic freedom comes at a cost, and that compromising their values was not an option. These contrasting responses highlight the difficult choices facing universities in the current political climate. On one hand, they rely heavily on federal funding for research and financial aid. On the other hand, they are deeply invested in protecting their independence and upholding their values. The outcome of these battles will shape the landscape of higher education for years to come. The standoff between Harvard and the Trump administration raises profound questions about academic freedom and the role of government in higher education. Harvard argues that its autonomy is paramount. It insists that the government cannot dictate what is taught, who is admitted, or who is hired. This stance reflects a long-held belief that universities are best positioned to determine their own priorities and pursue knowledge without undue influence. Critics of Harvard's stance argue that universities, particularly those receiving significant public funding, are not above accountability. They contend that the government has a legitimate interest in ensuring that taxpayer dollars are used responsibly and that universities are not engaging in discriminatory practices. This debate goes beyond the specifics of DEI programs. It touches upon fundamental questions about the relationship between government, education, and the pursuit of knowledge. Should universities be allowed to operate as independent entities, free to pursue their own agendas? Or should they be subject to greater government oversight, particularly when it comes to issues of national importance? The answers to these questions will have far-reaching implications for the future of higher education in America.